Hello and welcome to our Chessboard Kingdoms map editor tutorial. Here you can learn the basic principles of making new maps for the game. After launching the map editor, we can start on creating a new map right away, so let's do just that while exploring the interface. In the top right you can create a new map of specified dimensions, or choose one of the presets. A size of 20 by 20 will suit our needs, so let's create one. At any time you can toggle the grid and cell labels in the bottom right panel. Cell labels show the row and column of every cell alongside the elevation level, capital L. Selecting terrain from the menu on the left will bring up the terrain and elevation editing toolkit. From here you can paint your map with grass or snow tiles, create hills and valleys. We can start with the grass one. Let's paint a few tiles. This works, but if we want to cover the whole map, it will be much faster if we increase the brush size in the bottom right panel. Whole map is now covered in grass. Perhaps it will look better if we add a little variety. We are going to pick grass too and set a smaller brush size. Then we can add a bunch of different grass on the map. Continuing this, we can add a few other types of terrain until we are thoroughly satisfied. Interacting with the elevation slider sets the editor into the appropriate mode. We can now add some hills. They are important for creating interesting scenarios, as troops cannot walk on them effortlessly in the game. Going into the negative, we can add crevices and valleys or dig holes for where water will be. Let's add a few of those as well. While in the terrain menu, we can also mark tiles as passable or impassable, as well as add roads, but we will get back to it later after we place some objects. Coming up next, we can add some bodies of water to our map. Select water from the menu on the left. Similarly to painting the terrain, we can add the water tiles by choosing the appropriate item in the menu. To change how high the water level will be, we can use the slider, same as we did when creating elevations. We can also add rivers by dragging across the terrain while holding left mouse button. By the way, added changes can be erased with right mouse button. With our terrain being fully shaped with the hills and little ponds, let's beautify it some with trees and rocks. They will not only add to the appearance, but will play an integral role in how the map will be traversed by our units. Select environment from the menu on the left. Here you can choose the biome, summer, winter and desert being the currently available ones. Density changes how many objects will be placed on each cell. Let's begin by adding a few trees, rocks and other obstacles. We can also add some grass or flowers which will not impede movement. Now that the map isn't so barren, it is time we went back to the terrain menu to take a closer look at those passable and impassable markers. By default, all terrain is passable. It means that units will have no trouble walking on it and placing buildings will be allowed. Some tiles, like water and river, make cells impassable automatically. For objects like trees, however, we'll make the distinction by placing a special marker. This is so that we can differentiate between objects that add to the appearance, but aren't meant to be obstacles. Let's mark the trees and rocks impassable, but leave the grass and flowers be. On a side note, roads currently serve no purpose other than beautification. They can be placed much like rivers, but don't make tiles impassable. Perhaps that will change in the future. Next up are the board pieces. In the corresponding menu you can choose to place any of the available unit types. Selecting a western or eastern chess set in the map editor serves no purpose other than look and feel, as chess sets can be chosen per player in the game. In order to make a playable map, we have to add certain units for at least 2 players, but we can go up to 5. Since we are making a map with a layout suitable for up to 4 players, let's add units for 4 players by checking the corresponding boxes when placing them. By the way, maps made for more players can still be played with less, so it is a good idea to place units for different players across each other on the map. Usually we begin by adding a town center for every player, like so, player 2 opposite player 1 and player 4 opposite player 3. For extra protection, let's add a few pawns for every player. Let's back up our map, even though it isn't finished completely yet. We can always save our progress in the save menu, When you do so, you will see a notification that informs you about your map's readiness for play and tells you what remains to be done. In our case, all that remains is to set global game settings for our map. This is done in the last menu that we can choose on the left. We have to set a start location for every player. Similarly to how we place the units, let's add one close to the town centers we placed. Keep in mind that start locations have to be set on empty tiles. These are the places where kings will be spawned, if appropriate victory conditions are chosen, or even town centers will be placed there, if you have none. Here you can also add flags if you wish to capture the flag games available on this map. To do so, you place flag drop points for every player, much like with units and start locations. Then you typically add one flag somewhere where all players can reach it. Usually the center of the map serves the purpose. We won't be using this mode for this map, however, so let's remove the flag object. One last thing remains, setting the victory conditions. Let's choose the first three, omitting the flag ones. Then save the map again. If everything is done correctly, you will see the message of approval and share button will become available. It allows you posting your map to Steam Workshop. This concludes our excursion to the Chessboard Kingdoms map editor. We covered the basics, and as you can see, it is all quite simple. We hope you have a great time making maps of your own. See you later!